Welcome to Love Letters Live. This is Janet Gallen, and today's guest is someone you probably know from a variety of things. And I'm going to go right to you, Emilio. It is Emilio Palame, who I've known for years, I'm happy to say. And I may I just do a quick wrap up? When we first met, you were doing the most wonderful music. You were Peggy Lee's musical directory for what, 11 years?
Yes.
Hello history books. That's important. And if people want to hear that story, go back to your first Love Letters Live here. And then you made a movie that was Swing Time.
Right.
That was just wonderful, cheerful, triumphant. That was great. And now you've made another movie, which seems like a huge departure, different road. Is that true?
Yes. Yes, it is. I mean, it still involves a great deal of music that I orchestrated and arranged, and it's the
Okay.
same executive producer and the same songwriter, Mr. Roland Jacks.
Okay.
It's a continuation of his legacy. He just turned 90 on February 7th.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you something. So tell us the name of the movie and the it's so interesting. What took you down this religious road?
Well,
The name of the movie first.
yeah, the name of the movie is 47 Days with Jesus. And it talks about the last 47 days of Jesus's life on earth, from the time he arrives in Jerusalem on Palm Sunday to his death, resurrection, and ascension. But it's not just about that, though. That is an inner story. The way we term it in when we were putting this together is there's an outer story and there's an inner story.
Well,
The
you just
outer story is a family. I play the grandfather of the family, and every year, uh, both my son and daughter-in-law and my daughter and son-in-law come with their kids up to our ranch in Santa Barbara, or in Goleta, north of Santa Barbara, and we uh, we have an Easter break time together, and I usually tell the story of the 47 days to the kids. But because
is this
the,
in fact your life that you do this?
no, mm-mm.
This is the plot. Okay, so that's what I wanted to know. This is the
Yeah,
plot.
this is just the basic
This is
plot of
the
the
plot, the
story.
whole plot. Okay.
Yeah, and the way the story is structured is, in the outer story, my son and daughter-in-law, our marriage is falling apart, and they have two children, my two grandkids, a boy and a girl. Teenage boy who's very disillusioned because his dad is a complete workaholic, and he spends all of his time on the phone and is not really there for his family, and it's really worn on his wife and his kids. And I see it, and I see a similar thing happening that I did when I was younger, and so
Now we're going to you.
yeah, and so the way that the movie works is we're in present day. The kids and my son and daughter-in-law come to the house, and then I start telling them the story of the 47 days, and then we're transported back into Jerusalem, and it starts with Palm Sunday. So it starts with a song called "He's Coming This Way," which is the whole town rejoicing for Jesus's entrance into the city. And then, without sitting here and telling you the whole story, then when that segment is done, we come back to present day, and we use several different devices to transport us back and forth in time. Whenever we're in Jerusalem, it's a musical, kind of like Jesus Christ Superstar, sort of.
That's what I'm hearing. I was going to ask you that. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, the music is very, very uh, full orchestral, kind of sort of Andrew Lloyd Webberish.
Is it
Uh,
triumphant?
It's very triumphant. It's and the songs are not just songs; they're really pieces of music that are through composed that tell a story, almost like an opera, but
Oh,
not.
oh, I'm so happy. I mean, you're one of the best. I was at one of your shows in LA. I've never seen better. Oh, I'm so glad that you're telling us about this.
Yeah, it's really exciting. We've been working on this for 2 years. Uh, the same exact crew filmed and worked on this movie. This is the same as the Knights of Swing. So we have this is this would be our fifth year that we've been working together as a production company. So we're really quite a family and a quite finely tuned machine, really. Uh, the interesting thing about the way this movie came together is, as I mentioned to you, our executive producer Roland Jacks wrote these songs, and I've been working for him for over 20 years,
Oh,
uh, orchestrating and arranging his music. The first thing I did with him was a musical called Busy that was put on here in Los Angeles. And then he's always written contemporary Christian type songs, and I've arranged everything that he did that way. And then we did Nights of Swing, which was a whole bunch of songs that he wrote
I
that
remember that. It was
that
great.
I turned into these big band arrangements. And that movie is available on Apple TV and on Tubi, and it's done quite well. We've won a lot of awards.
Will this 47 days be on Apple TV?
Well, this is much more exciting than just Apple TV. We have a nationwide theatrical release in theaters March 11th, 12th, and 14th. It's in over 900 theaters across the country for those 3 days. And we've been picked up by a really amazing distribution company called Pinnacle Peak. And they're working in tandem with a company called Fathom Events. And these are two of the largest faith-based uh, companies in the world, and so we were really fortunate that they're putting quite a bit of capital behind promoting the movie. The big media blitz is going to actually start next week on Tuesday.
We'll stay tuned for all that. But I wanted to ask you something. First of all, is the last 47 days of his life a well-known period of time that everyone who's educated in that way would know about?
Yeah, and this is the thing that we are. It's real important about the story, and I want to make sure that I make it clear. This movie is not preachy. This movie is not intended to make you feel like if you don't believe in Jesus, you're damned for all eternity. It's about telling the Jesus story and then see how it works in your life and what it means to you. And that's how we present the story, because as we tell the story of the 47 days to the kids, and we each take turns telling the story, the elements of Jesus's life, of his love, uh, sacrifice, and forgiveness takes a hold to the present day family, and it heals their marriage
Okay.
through the telling of the story. So it's not about they have a term that says it's not just a sandal movie, where it's just all about. In fact, we spend more time in present day than we do in Nazareth, although the sequences in Nazareth are very, very powerful.
Have you become more religious in your own life?
I've always been. I went to 12 years of Catholic school, and I was an altar boy, and I've been involved in music ministry uh, all through. We homeschooled our kids, and I was involved in a lot of Christian music ministry. But I'm of the I don't know how to put this. I'm not a fire and brimstone kind of guy. I
I wouldn't go along with that. I'd never seen this side of you at all, and we've known each other for a long time.
well, I think it's more about how you live your life rather than what you say. Because
Yes.
a lot of people talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. I don't talk the talk, but I hope that within my family and with my friends and my business associates that I do walk the walk. And
Now,
I'm human. I have my frailties, but I always try to become a better person
oh,
on a daily basis.
you are such a good person.
I'm sorry.
What? Well, I was going to ask you something. The things you focused on when you were talking about Jesus in the last days, you focused on forgiveness.
Yes. Yeah, because that's what needs to happen. The forgiveness needs to happen in Joseph and Juliana's family, which is my son and my daughter-in-law. And those two actors are from the series The Chosen. And so they've given us quite a bit of visibility because of their presence in the story. And then the gentleman who plays Pilate is an actor named Cameron Arnett, and he's very popular in the faith-based community. He's one of the stars of Saved by Grace. He's in a movie that's coming out this summer called The Forge, which is a very big movie. So, well, these actors' presence in the film is helping get it out there.
Now, you talked about a faith-based production company, did you not?
Well, we
And that's interesting.
yes, yes, yeah, yeah. Pinnacle Peak is a faith-based distribution company.
Yes,
Our
that's
our
what I meant.
production company is most of the people in our production company are faith believing people, but that's not what the whole thing is about. The thing is about telling this story And you asked me about forgiveness and about love and how I look at it.
Yes.
That the message that Jesus brought to earth was the greatest commandment of these is to love one another as I have loved you. That's where it starts, is with love. And then when you have that love, whether it be unconditional love or it be romantic love, familial love, when that really takes hold and you really have love for yourself and for those around you, then you can get to uh, sacrifice and forgiveness and healing. But
What is
without the love, you can't get to those other things, and that's one of the main messages of the movie.
okay? So how do you get from love to forgiveness, actually, if you
Well,
can? Oh,
it- I think when you truly love, you one of
oh,
the lines that we have in the movie is uh, to be loved is to be understood. And when we feel like we're understood, like when Joseph's wife is understanding of him, and then he finally understands what he's been doing in his relationship with his wife and his children, that love is what allows him to realize that he needs forgiveness and they need healing in their relationship.
I'm not going to ask you what his transgressions were that need to be forgiven because I've been told by my daughters many times the evils of being a spoiler. So I don't want to do that. People
Well,
have
that's really not, no, because it even alludes to this um in the trailer. Joseph is struggling because he's a workaholic,
oh,
and
okay.
he spends a great deal of time uh, away from his family on the phone a
Oh,
lot,
like the father in the uh-huh
like the father. What?
in the movie you said.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like that when I was younger, and in the movie, and I've changed my ways because I really accepted uh, the responsibilities of my faith, and so I try to teach that to my son and my grandchildren, and it's a really wonderful, very very heartwarming, very very emotional story, but
I
it's
can't,
funny
I
though
can't
too.
wait to see it. Like I love everything that you've done that I know of personally.
Oh,
So
thank you.
yes, this is now you I have kind of a side question here. When you talk about being a workaholic, I guess that's a matter of temperament, but music has a pull that is inescapable to those who can do it and have it in here and it needs to get out. What do you say about the special needs of a person who has music?
Well, that's the part of the reason why I wrote this movie is because it is somewhat autobiographical of my life because I um, spent so much time with my music when we were first married, and that I mean, Ellen and I have been together for 41 years, and in the beginning of our relationship, a lot of things in raising our children are very evident in the story of Joseph Burdon. I A lot of the things I David Guttel, who uh, wrote the story with me, um, I brought in a lot of things that I grew up doing, and so when you ask me about how did it come about to do this movie, Roland Jacks, our producer and the writer, wrote all these songs, and then I was orchestrating them and arranging them, and we were going to make just a tribute to Easter, so to speak, where it was going to be a devotional where you could listen to these songs for about an hour with a little bit of narration in between, and it would be a devotional for the Easter season. Well, I got ill a couple of years ago, and I had to go to the emergency room at UCLA, and it was during a time when it was COVID was hitting pretty hard, and so I had to. Ellen came with me, and I was in just a triage room for about 36 hours, and I was really not feeling well. But the entire time that I was laying there, all the songs kept going through my head because I had been working on them so much. And after I got out of the hospital and I got well, I called Rollin and I said, I think that this would make an incredible movie. We should
Uh-huh.
we should turn this into a movie. And then we got the idea of having the musical part be something that we morph in and out of from the outer story. And so that's how it really came to be. And once we put the script together, and it went through like dozens and dozens of revisions, and aspects of it where in the faith-based community you have to be very biblically accurate, because when you take
Yeah.
liberties with the stories of the Bible, the faith-based community will not have anything to
Oh,
do.
you'll hear, I have some people, some very close friends who are very religious, different religions, but serious and educated. And, yes, if you say something incorrect, you get
Right.
corrected, which, by the way, I like being corrected. You learn something.
Oh
But
yeah.
yes, but I can see what you're saying there.
Yeah,
So who checks you for accuracy?
well, we had several different theologians, Bible scholars, go through the script, go through the story, go through the lyrics in the songs, uh,
Uh-huh.
and uh, and we got feedback from them. And certain aspects of the movie we had to change because they said that the faith-based community is not going to want to hear this interpretation of what happened. I don't think we had anything that was biblically inaccurate. It was just our interpretation of what it was. Uh,
Interesting.
didn't fly, and so we made adjustments, and gladly so, and because now it's been really accepted by the faith-based community, and we think we really have something that's going to really do well in
So
the
those
in
corrections were helpful.
absolutely, yes.
Right. Okay. Now, I don't know if you can say this. I mean, I know we don't have forever here, but can you talk about uh, kind of the main points of his last 47 days that we should know about? I mean, why that? Why not his first 47, you know?
Well, it's because it starts when he goes into Jerusalem on Palm Sunday. He arrives, he's exalted. The the Roman guards and the high priests don't like the attention that Jesus is getting, which is the biblical story.
Right.
And so we have uh, the next thing that we see is the Last Supper, where he tells the apostles that he's going to be sacrificed, and they don't quite understand what it is. And then Judas betrays him and turns him over. Uh, Pilate questions him, and he says, so they say that you're a king, and he says, no, my kingdom is not of this world. And he says, so and then Jesus says, I came here to speak the truth. And Pilate says, truth? What is truth? And so
Right.
there's very poignant moments between Jesus and his apostles, between him and Judas, between him and Pilate. And then we have the crucifixion, and then after the crucifixion, his burial, and then his resurrection, and then his return to preaching with the apostles, and them finding that he is risen and it's true, and then his final ascension into heaven, and then how that all of those moments going in and out of those aspects of the story, how they affect the present day family.
How do you think? I mean, I kind of wonder this. You see people in modern life being kind of deified. And
Yeah.
how does one person grab the spiritual attention of well, I can't say the entire world, but certainly the um what we now call the Christian world.
uh,
Um, how does this happen to grab the attention and heart and soul of enormous numbers of people and never let go?
I think the message is really clear.
Lasting power has been
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, I think that and this is what we really try to talk about in the movie is the message that Jesus brought to this earth about love and forgiveness is universal. And I think that uh, because of how Jesus lived his life, it's very inspiring to everyone to try to do the right thing all the time. It's not easy to do, but we all try our best, and through prayer and through meditation and through self
Oh,
introspection, you know,
self-awareness is huge, isn't it?
self-awareness is huge. It's funny that when I talk to some of the actors, because I do a lot of acting coaching with some of the actors, and one of the things that I talk about in the beginning is I say, being a good actor is being knowing the difference between being self-conscious and self-aware. Because when you're self-conscious, you're not you've already lost as an actor, because now you're thinking about how do I look, how do I. being self-aware and just being in the moment is was what makes great acting, I think.
Okay, maybe that's a whole other topic that I'd love to do because it fascinates me is what makes a great actor because so many you can see them acting,
Mhm.
you can see, and that's for me, goodbye, I turn the channel. And there's some people who are telling stories from so deeply within
Mhm.
that they are assuming a character to tell us. It's confusing to me. Okay.
It's not really not though, because it's really about just believing what you're saying, and really having it in your soul, in your heart, in your spirit, and just living that on camera. On camera, it's acting is mostly reacting, because if your thoughts are not on yourself, and you're with if when I'm looking at you and I'm talking to you, I'm not thinking about me. I'm thinking about communicating with you, and that's where the natural
Self-conscious. Yes. Okay.
that's where it comes across, and it's kind of really simple, that's how it works, being in the moment, although it takes a lot of study and training to really find what that voice is in yourself and how to do that with someone else's words,
I
because
have a friend who's an actor, and he once said that you have to like the character you're playing. You think that's right?
um yeah, I think so. I think that's a really good point, because one of my acting coaches, because I've studied with some really great people, and what he said is the most important thing is you can't judge the character that you are.
Oh, yes, because how could you play Hitler if you do? Right.
And that, to take that point, is if the actor is doing something really stupid or
Uh-huh.
selfish, he doesn't think it's stupid or selfish. In
Right.
real life, in real life, you wouldn't think. People do stupid things, but you don't think they're stupid. You think you're doing the right thing, and so you can't judge what your character is, because as soon as you do that, it's fake. You
Yes.
have to believe that what you're saying, even if it's really stupid, that it's what you believe. And that's what makes great acting is you can't judge the character that you're playing. You have to be that character.
It's a delicate balance. My goodness.
Yes, it is. And
I,
it's
I,
it's
I want
something that, like music, Janet, it doesn't change. It always is growing, and you're always finding better ways to do
yeah.
that. Subtle things that happen, just like me playing the piano. I'm always improving playing the piano, whether it's little subtle things of how I improvise or whatever it is. And it's the same thing with acting. You find little things that help you to be more in the moment, more grounded, more real.
I want to thank you for doing this with me. I just love listening to you, and I love hearing what you're doing. And you're just a remarkable man. I wish for the world that everybody gets to see you on stage playing the piano, presenting what you present, and I can't wait to see this movie. So I will be looking for it.
Oh yeah, am well, like I said, it's in theaters March 11th, 12th, and 14th for a limited engagement. If you go to the Fathom Events site, you can type in your zip code and it'll tell you what the closest theater is to
Wait,
you.
which site again? Say it again, please.
Fathom Events, F-A,
F8.
right. Just
Go
like,
ahead.
yeah, Fathom Events, and they have a page where you say get tickets, and there's a zip code up at the top that you can type in your zip code, and it'll give you the closest theater to you.
Meanwhile, people
Mostly
can still.
AMC and General Cinemat, they're the big popular theaters.
Wow, that's great. Okay, thank you.
It's a
I'll
big
talk to
deal.
you later. Thank you, dear. This just is really quite wonderful. This is, and I'm just very grateful that you are sharing it with us.
Well,
Yes.
I'm so glad that you take the time to do this, and you wanted to talk to me, and I always enjoy talking with you. And what
Yeah,
you do with Love Letters Live is just fantastic. And
great.
and our relationship began because I
Yes.
was in your one of your presentations, and it really hit home because Ellen and I both like to write things down. And
I know, and you do it so beautifully. She draws, and I remember that just to end on this because when you can see people. We were talking after that evening presentation, and I asked you if you do something in music. It was clear you hadn't said anything, you hadn't talked about it. It was clear that music was you.
Mhm.
That's
Well,
all.
thank
Okay, dear. Take care, and we'll talk later.
all right, thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye bye.